The church was silent enough to hear my heels echo. 212 empty seats, 8 people scattered in the front row, and my mother sitting in a car outside with binoculars. I found that out later. But in that moment, all I knew was this. The night before my wedding, my mother emailed all 94 guests and CC'd my boss. Subject line: "Concerned mother, please read." She told them I was mentally unstable, impulsive, too fragile to get married. By 9 a.m., 68 people had canceled, and at 2:04 p.m., I was halfway down the aisle of St. Michael's Church, trying not to cry in front of 8 witnesses and 212 empty chairs. That was the setup. Here's the backstory. My name is Mina. I'm 28, social worker, master's degree. I run programs for domestic violence survivors. Growing up, I was the scapegoat. My older brother Kyle was the golden child. He got the new bike. I got garage sale roller skates with someone else's name written inside. He got a car at 16. I walked to school in Oregon rain. When he went to college, my parents paid his $48,000 tuition in full. When I got into Portland State, my mom laughed. "We can't afford 2 investments." Investment. That was the word she used. By the time I finished grad school, I had $38,600 in debt and a mother who still called daily to remind me I was too sensitive. Then I met Owen, 3rd grade teacher, therapist on the side, calm, observant. On our first date, he noticed I flinched every time my phone buzzed. 2 months later, he handed me a book, Will I Ever Be Good Enough? I read it in one night. For the first time in my life, I had language. Gaslighting, DARVO, golden child, scapegoat. I started therapy, I started setting boundaries, and that's when my mother escalated. When Owen proposed, February 14th, 2025, 7:43 p.m., skyline view. My mom didn't say congratulations. She said, "Are you sure you're thinking clearly?" Within 3 days, she'd called 12 relatives saying she was worried about my judgment. By summer, she was telling people Owen was isolating me. By October, she was praying publicly in group chats for my mental state. And the night before the wedding, she went nuclear. The email wasn't emotional. That would have been easier to dismiss. It was strategic. She implied diagnoses I didn't have, said I'd become erratic, suggested Owen was exploiting me, and then she CC'd my boss. That part was surgical. She wasn't just trying to stop the wedding. She was trying to brand me unstable in the exact field where credibility is everything. When I showed Owen the email, I was sitting on the bathroom floor in my half-zipped dress. "I look crazy," I said. He read it once, calm, focused. Then he said, "We're getting married anyway." What I didn't know was that for nearly 2 years, Owen had been documenting every interaction I described. Dates, quotes, patterns. Not as my therapist. He was very clear about that later. As my partner. As someone trained to recognize abuse. He had 156 logged incidents categorized: gaslighting, financial control, isolation tactics, DARVO. He never told me. He didn't want to push me. He was waiting until I was ready. Back to the aisle. Step 36. Step 37. I reached Owen. He squeezed my hands. Then the back door slammed open. For 1 second, I thought it was my mother coming to stop the ceremony. It wasn't. 200 people walked in. Denim jackets, hand-painted messages. "You believed me. I believe you. You saved me." They filled every empty pew in under 90 seconds. Women I'd helped escape abuse. Families I'd connected with housing. Kids who'd come into my office scared and left safe. One woman stepped forward. "Juliana. 3 years ago," she said, "you helped me file a restraining order when everyone else told me I was overreacting." She held up her jacket. "You believed me, so we're here to believe you." The irony was almost funny. My mother told 94 people I was unstable. 200 survivors showed up because they recognized the language of abuse and knew exactly who was using it. Outside in the parking lot, my mother's phone buzzed. Owen had finally pressed send. The text was precise, clinical. He listed the 156 documented incidents, informed her he was filing for a restraining order, explained that her email constituted defamation and workplace harassment, and ended with, "Turn around. Your daughter is getting married in front of people who actually see her. My father was in the car with her. So was my brother. My brother read the message first. She used DARVO on her boss? He asked. Silence. My dad got out of the car. After 32 years of saying nothing, that's all it took. An email sent at 11:47 p.m. He walked to the church window and watched from outside. He didn't come in, but he watched. Inside, I said my vows. I choose you, I told Owen, and I choose myself. 200 people stood. The applause lasted 4 minutes. My mother drove home alone. Aftermath? Restraining order approved 5 days later. Served at her office. HR opened an investigation. I don't know the details. I do know she was placed on a performance plan. My father filed for legal separation in January. My brother started therapy and went no contact by Christmas. As for my job, the boss she tried to poison? She called me into her office the Monday after the wedding. She closed the door and said, "I've worked with abuse survivors for 15 years. That email told me more about your mother than it did about you." I was promoted 3 months later. Program director, $63,000 a year. The Facebook group Mina's Warriors now has over 400 members, and I'm 4 months pregnant. Sometimes people ask if I regret walking down that aisle to an empty church. I don't, because it wasn't empty for long. My mother spent 28 years trying to convince me I wasn't enough without her. In the end, she proved the opposite. She gathered 94 people to question my sanity. I gathered 200 without even trying. She tried to isolate me. She accidentally showcased my entire life's work. And that's the thing about people who weaponize control. They think exposure will destroy you. Sometimes it just reveals who's really alone.